Stride Audio Show.
Presented by Speak English with Us.
You're in a meeting. Your colleague is talking. You catch every single word: project, deadline, concerns, and then he stops and looks right at you, and your brain just goes blank.
Oh, that pause. That terrible pause where you have no idea if he just asked you a question or made a statement.
And you do the thing. You smile, you nod, you say, "Yeah, totally," and you pray he doesn't follow up.
I've said yeah, totally, to things I definitely should not have agreed to. Totally.
This is a B1 level episode, perfect for intermediate learners. Beginners, you're welcome too. We've got you.
And here's the thing. This isn't a vocabulary problem. You knew the words. You just couldn't catch the meaning fast enough.
Exactly. Your brain was decoding word by word, waiting until the very end to start processing, and by then, the moment was already gone.
Today, we're talking about predictive listening. It's a skill that lets your brain get ahead of the conversation instead of always running behind it.
And there's one thing we discovered while researching this episode. It comes from actual cognitive science. We'll get to that, but first.
Quick question. When you're listening in English and you lose the thread, what do you do? Option A, you ask the person to repeat. Option B, you just nod and hope for the best. Drop A or B in the comments right now. 3 seconds. Go.
I know which one most people pick, and it's not A.
We're not judging. We've both been there.
So in this episode, we're going to show you 3 predictive listening tricks that help you tune in to what's coming before it arrives.
We'll walk through real scenarios, do a little role play, and break down exactly why your brain gets stuck and how to unstick it.
And stay until the end for our word tour: 5 expressions that'll make you sound like you've been following along your whole life.
Right now, I'm guessing you're on your commute, or maybe doing dishes, half listening to us while thinking about something else entirely.
Which is fine, but later, we'll give you one tiny trick you can use tomorrow morning. Just one. But first, let's talk about why this keeps happening.
So let me paint a picture. 6 months ago, I was on a video call with a client overseas. She was walking me through some feedback on a report I'd sent.
And you were following along fine at first, right?
For about 45 seconds, yes. She said something like, "Overall, the structure works, and I appreciate the detail in section 2, but there are a few areas where the direction feels a little unclear."
And what happened in your brain at that point?
I froze, completely froze, because I was still processing the structure works. I was still feeling good about that part. And then suddenly, she was 3 sentences ahead of me, and I had completely lost the thread.
That freeze is so real. Your body's still sitting there looking calm, but inside it's just buffering.
Exactly. Full buffering mode. And the worst part? I could feel my face doing that slow nod though. You know the nod where you're nodding, but you have absolutely no idea what you're agreeing to.
The professional nod. It's a survival mechanism.
She finished talking. There was a pause, and she said, "So what do you think?" And I said, "That's a really good point."
Classic. You bought yourself 0 seconds with that one?
She then said, "Which point specifically?" And I felt the sweat starting. I was sweating through a video call. That's a new low.
But here's what I want to point out, because this is the key thing. You weren't lost because of vocabulary. You knew every word she said.
Every single one. Structure, direction, unclear. None of those are hard words.
You were lost because your brain was waiting. It was processing each word as it arrived, one at a time, instead of predicting where the sentence was going. So by the time she finished, you were still somewhere in the middle.
And that's the difference between how we process our first language versus a second language, right?
Exactly. In your first language, you don't wait. The moment someone says, the problem is, your brain has already started building a picture of what's coming. A complaint, a request, an explanation. You're already there before they finish.
But in English, most of us are still in decode mode, word by word, like reading a sentence one letter at a time.
And that's where the cue comes in. Native speakers drop cues constantly, little signal words that tell you exactly what shape the next sentence is going to take.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Okay, the thing is, that's a cue. It tells you something important or slightly uncomfortable is coming. What I'm trying to say is, that's a cue. It means, I've been unclear and now I'm going to simplify. To be honest, huge cue. Brace yourself for something direct.
Oh, to be honest, is terrifying in a work context.
It really is. But if you can pick up on that cue the moment you hear it, your brain shifts into the right mode before the actual content arrives. You're already tuned in to the right frequency.
So instead of scrambling to catch up after the fact, you're already positioned to receive it.
Right. And this is actually what separates listeners who follow along naturally from those who are always half a beat behind. It's not speed, it's anticipation.
Okay, let's try something. I'm going to play the client. You be me, the panicking version of me. Ready?
Oh, I was born ready for this.
Overall, the work is solid, but to be honest, I think there's a disconnect between what the data shows and the conclusion you draw on.
Stop. Right there. Did you catch it?
To be honest,
Exactly. The moment you hear to be honest, you don't need to wait for the rest. Your brain should already be thinking, direct feedback is coming, probably a criticism, stay open. You've already tuned in to the right channel.
so when the actual criticism lands, you're not scrambling. You're ready to receive it and respond.
And that readiness changes everything. You stop freezing, you stop sweating through video call.
My laptop camera thanks you in advance.
And by the way, there's a phrase for that moment when you catch a signal before the message arrives. It's called picking up on a cue. We'll break that down properly in the word tour later, but keep that phrase in your head as we go.
So the skill isn't just listening harder, it's listening smarter, training your brain to pick up on those little signals and use them to stay one step ahead.
And that's exactly what we're going to show you how to do. Right after this? Okay, so here's the first trick. And it's so simple, you're going to think we're making it up.
I already think you're making it up.
When someone starts a sentence with a signal phrase like, the problem is, or what I mean is, or to be honest, pause everything else in your brain for half a second and just ask yourself, what's coming next?
Wait, you mean literally stop listening to predict?
For half a second, yes, your brain can handle it. The moment you hear, the problem is, you know the next part is going to be a complaint or an obstacle. So you shift into problem receiving mode before the actual problem arrives.
But what if I miss something while I'm predicting?
That's the thing you won't, because you're not guessing random content. You're just identifying the shape of what's coming. Complaint, explanation, request. Once you know the shape, the details slot in way faster.
Okay, but I'm not convinced this works in real time. It sounds good in theory, but when someone's actually talking at full speed.
Hold on, let's test it right now. I'm going to say a sentence. The moment you hear the signal phrase, predict the shape. Ready?
Fine, go.
I don't want to sound negative, but detoxin.
Criticism incoming.
See, you didn't even need the rest of a sentence. Your brain already knew.
Okay, that was fast, but that's because it's obvious, right? I don't want to sound negative is basically a flashing warning sign.
Exactly, and that's the point. These cues are everywhere. Native speakers use them constantly because they help the listener follow along without getting lost. But most learners ignore them. They're so focused on the individual words that they miss the signposts.
So it's like the difference between reading a map and just wandering around hoping you'll end up in the right place.
Perfect analogy. The cues are the map. And once you start noticing them, listening stops feeling like a guessing game.
Okay, but here's my issue. What if the person doesn't use signal phrases? What if they just start talking and there's no "the thing is," or to be honest?
That's a fair question. And that's where the second trick comes in listening for tone shift.
Tone shifts?
Yeah. Even without explicit signal words, people's voices change when they're about to say something important. They slow down slightly, or they pause, or their pitch drops. Those are cues too.
So now I'm supposed to be a voice analyst while also processing English?
You're already doing it in your first language. You just don't realize it. When your friend says, "So, I need to tell you something," you don't need them to finish. You already know from the tone that it's serious.
Okay, that's true. I do pick up on that automatically.
Right. So the goal is to bring that same instinct into English. And the way you do that is by practicing with low-stakes content, first podcasts, YouTube videos, anything where you can pause and rewind.
So not in the middle of a high-pressure work meeting.
Definitely not. You practice in safe spaces first. Every time you hear a signal phrase or a tone shift, pause the video and predict what's coming next. You don't have to be right. You're just training your brain to look for the cues.
And how long does this take before it becomes automatic?
Honestly, a couple of weeks if you do it daily, 5 minutes a day, that's it. Your brain starts recognizing the patterns, and then one day you're in a real conversation and you realize you're not lost anymore. You're following along.
But what if I predict wrong? What if I think someone's about to complain and they're actually giving me a compliment?
Then you adjust in real time. That's the beauty of it. You're not locked into your prediction. You're just giving your brain a head start. If the actual content doesn't match, you course correct instantly. It's still faster than waiting until the end to start processing.
Okay, I'm starting to see it. It's like you're not trying to be psychic. You're just trying to stay one step ahead instead of 3 steps behind.
Exactly. And here's the third trick, which ties everything together. Active listening check-in.
What's that?
Every 30 seconds or so, ask yourself, do I still know what this person is talking about? Not the exact words, just the general thread. If the answer is no, you've lost it. And that's your cue to tune in harder or ask a clarifying question.
So basically, don't wait until the end to realize you're lost.
Right, because by then it's too late. But if you catch it early, wait, I just lost the thread. You can recover. You can say, "Sorry, can you repeat that last part?" And it's not awkward. It's just normal conversation.
That actually makes sense. I think I've been so afraid of admitting I'm lost that I just stay lost and hope it resolves itself.
And it never does. It just gets worse. But if you check in with yourself regularly, you catch the problem before it snowballs.
Okay, so to recap, watch for signal phrases, listen for tone shifts, and do regular check-ins to make sure I haven't lost the thread.
That's it. 3 tricks. And they all work together to help your brain stay ahead of the conversation instead of constantly playing catch-up.
I'm genuinely excited to try this, and also slightly terrified that I've been doing it wrong my entire life.
You haven't been doing it wrong. You've just been doing it the hard way, and now you know an easier way.
Before we move on, if you're listening and you've ever nodded along to something you didn't understand, drop a comment. We want to hear your most awkward, "yeah, totally" moment. We'll read the best ones next episode.
And if you're finding this helpful, hit subscribe. We've got more episodes like this coming your way. Okay, so we've talked about why your brain gets stuck and 3 tricks to stay ahead of the conversation.
And now it's time for the part I actually look forward to every episode.
The word tour. 5 expressions we've been weaving through today's story, and now we're going to break them down properly.
These are the exact phrases that'll help you sound like you're genuinely following along, not just surviving.
Let's go. Let's go back to that moment Leo described, sitting on the call, nodding, completely lost. There's actually a perfect phrase for what happened there.
Oh, there's definitely a phrase for it. I could feel it happening in real time.
You lost the thread. That's the expression. To lose the thread means you've stopped following the main point of a conversation. The thread is the through line, the central idea connecting everything together. And when you lose it, you're just floating.
That's exactly what it felt like. Like I was holding a string and then suddenly it just wasn't there anymore.
And it happens so fast, right? One distraction, one unfamiliar word, and the whole thread slips. You can say, "Sorry, I lost the thread. Can you go back to the part about the deadline?" It's natural. It's honest. Native speakers say it too.
Okay, so now I don't have to pretend I was following along the whole time.
Which brings us to that phrase, follow along. To follow along means you're understanding and keeping up with someone as they speak, not just hearing the words, but actually tracking the meaning in real time.
And the opposite of that is losing the thread.
Exactly. They're 2 sides of the same coin. I was following along fine until he switched topics, or it's hard to follow along when someone speaks really fast. It's about staying connected to the flow of the conversation.
And what makes it hard to follow along is when you miss the signals, which is where the next one comes in.
Cue. A cue is a signal or hint that tells you what's coming next. In theater, a cue is what tells an actor when to speak. In conversation, it works the same way. The thing is a cue, to be honest, is a cue. They're little flags that say, pay attention, something important is about to happen.
So when I hear, I don't want to be difficult, but, that's a very loud cue.
The loudest. And once you start noticing cues, you can use them yourself. That's your cue to wrap up. She gave me every cue that she wasn't happy. It works in both directions.
And to actually catch those cues, you have to be doing the next one, tuning in.
Yes. To tune in means to pay close, focused attention to what you're hearing. It's not passive listening, it's active, deliberate listening. Like adjusting a radio dial until the signal is clear.
I love that image, because sometimes in a conversation, I'm technically present, but I'm not really tuned in. My brain's somewhere else.
And that's when you miss the cues. That's when you lose the thread. It all connects. I need to really tune in during this meeting. Or, I wasn't tuned in. I missed the whole first part.
And when you are tuned in, you start doing the last one naturally.
Pick up on something. To pick up on means to notice or become aware of something that isn't directly stated. It's that instinct when you sense something without being told explicitly.
Like picking up on the fact that your manager is stressed even though she hasn't said anything.
Exactly. Or in a conversation, I picked up on the fact that he wasn't really asking, he was telling. It's about reading between the lines. And it's a skill. The more you tune in, the more you pick up on.
So the whole chain is tune in, 10 use she, 10 use, follow along, 10 use, pick up on the meaning, 10 you, and if you miss a step, you lose the thread.
That's the whole episode in one sentence. I'm genuinely impressed.
I was following along the whole time. See, it works.
So here's what we covered today. Your brain isn't broken. It's just been working too hard decoding every word one at a time instead of predicting where the conversation is going.
And the fix isn't studying more vocabulary. It's training your brain to catch the cues. Stay tuned in and follow along in real time.
3 things you can start doing tomorrow. First, when you hear a signal phrase like, the thing is, or, to be honest, pause for half a second and predict the shape of what's coming. Complaint? Request? Explanation? Just name it.
Second, every day, pick a 5-minute podcast or video. Every 30 seconds, hit pause and say out loud what you think comes next. You don't have to be right. You're just building the habit of thinking ahead.
And third, check in with yourself during real conversations. Every minute or so, ask, do I still have the thread? If the answer's no, that's your cue to ask a quick, clarifying question. It's not awkward, it's smart listening.
I genuinely wish someone had told me this before that video call. I would have saved myself a lot of sweating.
We all have our yeah, totally moments. The goal isn't to never lose the thread. It's to catch it faster every time.
And honestly, the more you practice picking up on cues, the more natural it becomes. One day you'll realize you're not translating anymore. You're just listening.
That's the moment everything changes.
Before you go, we want to hear from you. Tell us in the comments, what's one situation where you completely lost the thread in English? A meeting, a phone call, a conversation with a friend?
We read every single comment, and your story might end up in a future episode.
Thanks for listening to English Stride. We'll see you next time.
Keep going. You're closer than you think.